Hey y'all, it's Celt, and recently I did a video defending the comfort of Crocs. And the amount of times that people commented that Crocs are the shoe in the movie Idiocracy reminded me that we need to talk about the fact that Idiocracy is not the prophetic masterpiece everyone thinks it is. First, let me start off by saying that if you like the movie Idiocracy, cool, there's no judgment here. We all occasionally have bad taste in movies. For example, I like the movie Office Space, another creation by Mike Judge. It is okay to like bad movies, but we have to stop pretending that bad movies such as Idiocracy are the secret masterpiece that only a few people understand due to their intelligence level, or that they are future-telling documentaries. Because Idiocracy is neither of those two things. It's just a movie created by Mike Judge. Now, to give Judge credit, he was intelligent enough to be able to tap into what Americans thought was entertaining and funny during the late 90s, early 2000s, but that's about it. He's not the 1990s, early 2000s Stanley Kubrick. Mike Judge's main claim to fame is naming a character Butthead and having the other character in that show's most notable line being, "I am Cornholio, I need TP for my bunghole." So it's very ironic that Mike Judge wrote and directed a movie that was supposed to be a satirical work on anti-intellectualism. Especially ironic with the fact that the movie itself promotes anti-intellectualism. Allow me to explain. Idiocracy was released in 2006. The general premise of it was the United States Army took one of their most average soldiers, froze him in cryogenics hibernation, and was supposed to awaken him in a year. And of course, the project got completely abandoned, and he ends up waking up 500 years in the future. 500 years in the future has caused this man to become the smartest person in the world, not because he got smarter, but because the population of the world got dumber. The general idea being that technology and consumerism advanced so far that survival of the fittest was no longer a thing. Stupid people continued to have children, while the highly intellectual people stopped having children by choice. This creates a world where the most average man in the 2000s is now the smartest man in the 2500s. This man is put into jail, he's later found out to be the smartest man alive, and he is brought into the White House and tasked with the job of figuring out how to get the plants to grow. In this time period, there's a famine because no crops are growing because they're not watering their crops. They're giving them this synthetic electrolyte drink because it's what plants crave. Some wacky hijinks happened, he ends up showing them how to grow crops, and then he is elected president because he is the smartest man in the world. At the end of it, he marries the woman that was put into hibernation with him, and they both have the smartest children in the world. While the previous president marries like 8 women, has 36 children, and they turn out to be the dumbest children in the world. Now that you've heard the synopsis of this movie, if you haven't already seen it, people since this movie has been coming out have said that this is a documentary or it's prophesizing our future. To the point that it is referenced in articles in major news publications online stating that we are becoming like Idiocracy. And this is what I mean by the movie itself promotes anti-intellectualism within its own fan base. Because we can't become Idiocracy. Because for the premise of the movie of Idiocracy to become true, eugenics would have to be true. Yep, your favorite Mike Judge creation is nothing more than a promotion of the idea of eugenics. More accurately, the concept within the idea of eugenics of dysgenics. The idea of dysgenics within the concept of eugenics was that if you took out favorable traits out of the gene pool, a species would collapse. It was particularly promoted with this idea that the concept of modern warfare was going to leave us with a society of disabled people. The idea being that healthy and strong people were going out to fight a war and dying, while disabled people were staying home in safety and having children. For a while, it was actually thought that certain people should be allowed an out of war just so they could stay back and continue to seed the gene pool with their exceptional genes. The idea of dysgenics and eugenics would work together, in which you would promote the idea of healthy stock and genes reproducing, while discouraging disabled and poor stock from creating offspring. If this concept seems horrible to you, it's because it should. It's one of the main pillars of Nazism and one of the main driving ideologies that caused the Holocaust. And it's the entire story mechanism for the movie Idiocracy. Your favorite Mike Judge movie is based on eugenics and classism. The idea that the rich intellectual is not going to have as many children as the dumb, poorer, lower class. And then when you get to the point that the rich intellectual has no children whatsoever, intellectualism dies out and you get left with a population of stupid. And we as a society find it funny because as a society we find things like classism, eugenics, and social Darwinism to be hilarious. So no, Mike Judge was not a satirical genius. He wasn't a futurist. He just thought that classism and eugenics was funny. And as a society, so did we. That's why we made that movie a cult classic. So remember, Idiocracy doesn't predict the future. It's not telling you what's going on in our political landscape. It just promotes eugenics.